It's been very sunny and I feel like my brain just doesn't like the sun. My brain loves rain, fog, when it's gray outside. I feel like this conversation today should cheer me up. And if you're new to this channel, by the way, my name is Daria. I'm a graphic designer. I went to this event. It's basically like a series of talks from 4 creators from the industry, like professionals. Absolutely blew my mind. 2 guys from the creative agency Koto. They launched this project called Seasoned, which is themed around food, and I love food. These guys, they launched this project basically giving recipes on how to become a creator and how to like navigate in the industry, which I find so fascinating. During the talks, I went and found those creators on Instagram, and what I discovered, 3 out of 4 speakers barely had any following on social media. I have larger following than those people. My level of creative practice, they're here and then like somewhere there. You know what I mean? Illustrator that was there, she had a collaboration with Nike, and it made me think, do you have to be a content creator to be a graphic designer? It's like when you choose to be a creator, like an artist or a graphic designer or an illustrator or whatever it is that you want to be, it seems as if the label of social media manager, content creator just comes like hand in hand. 1+1 offer in a grocery store. And today, that's what I wanted to talk about. Content creation, graphic design. Let's get into it. The way I want to structure this video is by giving you some pros and some cons of being a content creator and an artist simultaneously, basing your content creation to promote your creative identity, if you know what I mean. And the first good thing actually about that, it's an easy way to get your work out there. It's incredible. Social media, in terms of like sharing your talent and getting yourself out there, the exposure is global. You don't necessarily have to have a professional portfolio, like a full-on website, to show your talents. I would say less effort than making a full-on graphic design portfolio website, which takes ages. But I feel like when we create content as graphic designers, we kind of start tailoring our projects to social media. I'm actually sometimes thinking, okay, I should post something, what will resonate with my audience, I should create something based on that. For me, in my brain, it's oftentimes content first and graphic design second, which is not how I want it to be. I want to be graphic designer first, and then I used content creation as a way to get myself out there as a graphic designer. I don't want to use graphic design as a method of being a content creator and gaining following. In terms of portfolio, I feel like when you start getting into this whole content creation thing and starting, showcasing your work, it takes a lot of time, obviously. But I feel like as a professional graphic designer, we do need a professional portfolio. Most of the content, it's less specific, less professionally presented most of the time, and it's more targeted to the audience rather than clients, I would say. Graphic designers as content creators post like advice. It's very kind of lifestyle based. A portfolio is a professional piece of work. It's something for your clients, it's something for your potential employers, it's where you can go in depth on your projects. A website portfolio and your content, your Instagram or TikTok, whatever feed, are not interchangeable. Is that the word? You cannot substitute your website portfolio, your not website, maybe you can use Behance, whatever portfolio, like a professional portfolio with content creation for the entirety of your career. You need that portfolio to professionally showcase your work. In that sense, content creation oftentimes just gets in the way. I struggle with that. I still don't have a portfolio, and that's mostly merit to my content creation side of things, which again, I'm grateful for, and I chose that path. But I feel like if I focused solely on graphic design, I would have more chance to practice graphic design instead of sitting there and editing the videos and like curating my feed and whatnot. That's, I would say, a huge pain point. Another area is people. Content creation, in a good sense, exposes you to this absolutely incredible creative community. You can talk to people, you can get feedback, you can connect with people, you can get clients, you can get hired. Fun fact, I'm a student still and I study fashion buying. That's controversial. I'm not gonna go into that right now. On our course, we are required to work on our LinkedIn profiles. And I'm like, Because I want to be a graphic designer, I feel like graphic designers are not really on LinkedIn. Like creative people are mostly on Behance and like Instagram, and we get contacted and hired through DMs. That's very interesting because social media gives us a chance to get hired, which is incredible. You can literally DM creative agencies on Instagram, which is much more personable, which is much more, I feel like, convenient and comfortable and easy, instead of just applying through LinkedIn. Click a button, apply, and you don't have no idea when and if you're gonna get a response. So in that sense, social media, you showcase your work, you expose yourself to the clients, and get hired. How great is that? But the people side thing here can also be very, very detrimental in terms of, tell me if I'm wrong, when you start creating content, you start thinking about your audience most of the times, right? And I often have this thought, I have to produce content for these people. I have to keep them engaged. I have to make them interested. And I feel like that really affects my authenticity in terms of my graphic design, in terms of my creative practice. That sort of a chase for following and for exposure drags that necessity to follow trends with itself, and to kind of tap into the audience and to connect with people through like giving them what they need. And it's not necessarily something that you need most of the times as a creator. This is very difficult to explain. In terms of your posting schedule, it's often that anxiety around like, oh, I haven't posted, I haven't created anything in a while. I need to make this poster right now because I need to post something. It's not necessarily that you need to make a poster because you have this idea, or you want to practice graphic design, or you want to try this new style. It's just because you need to post on Instagram because the audience is waiting, because there are expectations. You're afraid of being and feeling like a failure in comparison to content creators that post 20,000 times per week. Obviously, it affects the quality of your work because you want to just put it out there, you want to move on, you want to post, you want to be consistent. To be consistent and to post frequently, you have to produce frequently. And sometimes, as creators, we need time. We need time. We need to experiment. And sometimes our work is shit. Sometimes we need to sit and click through every single font to find the one that works perfectly, which takes like 5 hours. We need to shuffle around the colors from like light blue to baby blue to periwinkle blue for 50 times to see which color works better. Quality work requires time. And sometimes this content creation rush, it doesn't give you any time. And then comparison. Can be good, can be bad. Comparison is a thief of joy, as they said, if we're talking about the bad side of it. And yeah, I mean, 100%, I feel like I compare myself a lot to a lot of creators out there, and I feel like it's inevitable. In some cases, comparison is our like surviving mechanism. It's like an innate biological mechanism. We compare ourselves to become stronger, to see if we can survive. Especially beginner graphic design, of course, you're gonna take references from more professional people. Of course, you're gonna be looking up to that. That's a learning curve, that's a learning practice, but sometimes it can be toxic. We are not surviving here. We're in a creative industry, and social media unfortunately exposes you to too many people. That sort of exposure, that sort of amount of people to compare yourself to, we're not built to be exposed to that. It also leads to another disgusting practice within social media: people copying, literally taking others people's work. Why people do that? You can get inspired, but taking somebody's work literally piece by piece and just copying everything, I feel like I'm just being a bit dramatic here. And here you can counteract that fast-paced nature of content creation. You can choose to be true to yourself as a creator. You can choose to just post your best work. Not best, just post your work. Just be there. It may take longer time to maybe find those clients and to grow your community and whatnot, but at the same time, when you're growing that community, it's the community of people that are loyal to you, that are actually interested in your work, and don't want any external value from you in terms of like, I don't know, maybe your knowledge and whatnot. As a creator, as a graphic designer, they just want to appreciate your work. They just enjoy. They're there for you and your practice, and that's beautiful. If you don't want to be a world famous graphic designer, but you can be a world famous graphic designer and just post your work, and you just have to choose your path here, I guess. My biggest mistake of all time. I recently posted a little Q&A on my Instagram. One person asked me, what is the biggest advice you can give to a beginner graphic designer? And I sat down and thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm a beginner graphic designer. How can I give advice to beginner graphic designers? And if I'm a beginner graphic, in comparison to so many people out there who's been in the industry for like decades, for 5 years. I'm not even 5 years in. I'm like 2 years in. Hello, I'm like a baby in this industry, and I'm out there putting out, educational graphic design content and tutorials and whatnot. That's where my imposter syndrome came from and my identity crisis. I talked about that in this video. It's the first food for thought episode. This is the second one. My biggest mistake as a graphic designer, there's always a point of sacrifice when it comes to pursuing new projects, new hobbies, new career, always a point of sacrifice of time, energy. I started learning graphic design and I learned the theory and everything over the summer 2022. And then in April 2023, I started posting on Instagram. And then in April 2024, I started posting on YouTube. My degree is in fashion, so I don't have professional education in graphic design. I didn't give myself a chance to grow as a graphic designer by straight away jumping into content creation and approaching it, I believe, in the wrong way. Because as I've said in a couple of points that I made before, in terms of how content creation is often directed by your audience, by your need to post frequently. Because of that, I didn't have enough time to grow, didn't have enough time to develop as a graphic designer. You may say, Daria, you could just give up content creation and it was your choice. Yes, I admit it, it was my choice, and in many ways I'm grateful for that choice. But in the very beginning, my mindset was so focused on growing the following and growing the content side of things, I just didn't give myself a chance to grow as a graphic designer. But now I have this community and I'm not aiming for it to be like 100,000 people, and I want to be focusing on graphic design now. And I guess it's just a case of priorities. Content creation, do it or not do it, has both good sides and bad sides. Maybe 1 year you're going to be focusing on your content creation side of things and growing your community and trying to get some clients, and maybe next year you're just going to see, I'm satisfied with what I have here right now. I'm just going to focus on my practice as a graphic designer. And I guess that's probably a healthy way to do it that way. But I would still say my biggest piece of advice, which is today is not an advice session, it's just some food for thought. If you are a beginner creator, illustrator, graphic designer, whatever it is that you're doing, crafting, give yourself a chance to be an artist. Give yourself a chance to practice, to learn, to experiment, maybe get an internship or something. Give yourself time and energy to actually do that thing. It may seem very fun and entertaining and very enjoyable, but actually influencers and content creators, let me tell you, spend a lot of time on planning, on scripting, and it takes all of that energy and time from your actual practice. So I would say, if you're a beginner, give yourself a chance to grow as an artist before that whole content creation thing consumes you. So yeah, here's some food for thought and a little tiny friendly advice. If you need both, try to negotiate with yourself. I don't know, okay, it's gonna be 60% content creation, 40% graphic design, or whatever breakdown you wanna focus on. Dip your toes into it, see how it feels. If it feels horrible, don't do it. You don't have to. I guess that's it for today. Maybe something controversial caught your attention and you want to discuss it. DM me on Instagram if you have any questions or any topics that you want me to discuss in the future. Yeah, I just love yapping, I guess. That's it for today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. By the way, when I started this video, I said that how I have no energy. I have the energy now.